to solve for the missing angle measures, and I want you to think about the angle relationships that we learned yesterday. We learned about vertical angles and adjacent angles. Vertical angles are angles that are across from each other. They're directly across from each other. Do we have any that are directly across from each other? No. So we're going to look at our rules for adjacent angles, and I'm going to choose these two angles right here that share this straight angle. So we know if they share a straight angle, they're going to add up to how many degrees?
180.
180. So we're going to start with 2x plus 8, and I have to add in my second angle, plus 5x minus 10, and I'm going to set both of those equal to 180. We now have to combine like terms before we come up with our answer. So what like terms do we have that we can combine?
2x and 5x.
And what is 2x plus 5x?
7x.
7x. And if we have a positive 10 and we're positive 8 and we're subtracting 10, what's 8 minus 10? Negative 2, and that's going to equal 180 degrees. Now this looks like the two-step equations that we have had a lot of practice with. How do we solve a two-step equation? What do we want to undo first?
2.
Yeah, we want to add 2 to both sides. This will cancel and give us 7x equals 182. And our last step to find x is divide by 7. This cancels and we get that x equals 26. The question did not ask us just to find x. They want to know our angle measures. So this angle right here, 2x plus 8. Instead of x, I'm going to plug in 26 and I will add 8. What is 2 times 26? 52, and then when I add 8, I get 60. So the measure of this angle right here is 60 degrees. If I try this angle right here, 3x plus 42, instead of x, I'm plugging in 26, and I add 42. What is 3 times 26? 78, and I'm going to add 42. And I get 120. So this right here is 120 degrees. To find our last two angles, we know that these two angles share a straight angle. So if this angle is 60, this angle has to be how many degrees? 120, so that they add up to 180. And if this angle right here is 120, what would be the angle next to it? 60. Okay, so the heading for today's lesson is complementary and supplementary angles. Our target is students will be able to identify supplementary and complementary angles and solve for missing angle measures. We have two new vocabulary words. Our first vocabulary word is complementary. So, two angles are complementary angles if the sum of their measure is 90 degrees. If you notice in our example, if you take a right angle, which is 90 degrees, and you break it into two parts, you know that when you add the measure of angle 1 and the measure of angle 2, they're going to equal 90 degrees because together they form a right angle, and right angles are 90 degrees. So remember, complementary angles, they add up to 90 degrees. Our other vocabulary word is supplementary angles. And two angles are supplementary if their sum is 180 degrees. This is kind of like what we did yesterday. If they share a straight angle, we know that a straight angle is 180 degrees. So if they're sharing that angle, when you add the measure of angle 3 and angle 4 together, they're going to equal 180 degrees. Okay, so to find missing angle measures, we can use our angle relationships to solve for unknown angle measures. If we look, this right here, we have what type of angle? Straight angle, and how many degrees are in a straight angle? 180. So I know when I add these together, it's going to give me 180 degrees. Right here is what type of angle?
Right.
How many degrees is a right angle? 90. So I have to add all three of these angles. So I'm going to add x plus 90 and set them equal to 180. Everyone should know if we combine these two x's, what are we left with? 2x. So x plus x gives us 2x. I'm going to bring down my plus 90 and bring down my 180. We now have a two-step equation. What do we want to undo first?
Subtract 90.
Want to subtract 90 from both sides. This will cancel out to be 0, and we get that 2x equals 180 minus 90 leaves us with 90, and we have to do what to both sides? Divide by 2. This cancels, and we get that x equals 45. Okay, I want to go over some of the on your own questions with you. The first two, we're just classifying them as supplementary, complementary, or neither. For number 1, if you add 135 and 45 together, what do you get? 180. And angles that add up to 180 are what type of angles? Supplementary angles. For number 2, we have an angle that's 23 degrees and an angle that's 67 degrees. When you add those together, what did you get? 90. And what type of angles are those? Complementary. For number 3, they want us to find the value of x. And what do we notice about our angle relationship here? Yeah, they share a straight angle, they're supplementary, they're going to add up to 180 degrees. So I'm going to set my equation as 3x, I'm going to add in my other angle, which is 45 degrees, and set that equal to 180. To solve this equation, we want to undo any addition or subtraction first. So we subtract 45 from both sides. This cancels to 0, and we get that 3x equals, what is 180 minus 45? 135, and then we have to divide both sides by 3. We should have gotten that x equals 45. So number 4 is set up just like number 3, so I'm going to have you try that one on your own.